he says a prayer, and they kneel together and they pray before they consummate the sexual union. And I think it's the only place in the Bible we see where a couple's praying before they exchange the marital act. And Tobiah leads the prayer, and he blessed are you, Lord God, Father of mercies. And he says, Lord, he says, you know I take this wife of mine not because of lust, but for a noble purpose. So call your mercy down upon her and I, let us live together to a happy old age. He talks about her in the prayer as his sister. But imagine this, a young guy. And back in the Old Testament, girls got married at a young age. Guys would get married about 18 years old or so. Imagine a young man, maybe in his late teens or early 20s, being able to say to God on his wedding night, before consummating the act of sex, saying to God, you know I take her because of a noble reason, not because of lust. Imagine being able to say that on your wedding night. And when I was I first read that prayer back, I think it was in late teens or early 20s, I remember thinking, I want to say that on my wedding night. I want to be able to kneel with my wife on my wedding night and pray that with her. And so we did. On the first night of our honeymoon, we kneeled together and we said that prayer. I mentioned that to a friend of mine. He said, you know, I did the same thing on my wedding night. And there was this yearning in the man to be able to love the woman with his undivided heart, with his love of Christ. Not that I perfected that by any means, but just to be able to be free from the porn and free from all that stuff so that we can look God in the eyes and say, you know this isn't because of lust. And it doesn't mean you know this is free of sexual desire. Sexual desire is not the same thing as lust. So many Christian men struggle with their sexuality and chastity because they think sexual desire is lust. And they think, well, it's impossible. How am I supposed to be pure? I have all these desires, because they think if they become really, really pure, they won't have any sexual desires anymore. They'll see a beautiful woman, and they'll look at her, you know, like she's a sofa or something. Oh, no, this is not purity. To have this androgynous attitude of just like, well, I'm not attracted to her anymore. That's not the point, because purity is not the annihilation of the sexual desires, it's the perfection of the sexual desires. So that you're able to take the desire to love her and put that above the temptation to lust after her. And so this transformation through the sacraments, through devotion to Our Lady, through time spent before the most blessed sacrament, getting rid of the pornography, being parts of groups like this transformation is possible. Pope John Paul II said this, each man must look within his own heart to see if she who has been entrusted to him as a sister in humanity has not in his heart become an object of adultery. And so every man must really look into his own heart to have that heart-to-heart with Jesus. In 735 AD, and in it he's given a little meditation on the incarnation of Christ becoming man. And he says in here, this is Christ, he says, I'm covered by a cloud of flesh, not that I may be hidden from those seeking me, but that I may be less bright for the sake of the weak. Let them heal the eyes of their minds. Let them purify their ears with faith, so that they may be worthy to look upon me. For blessed are the pure in heart, since they shall see God. When I read this, I immediately thought of modesty. The exact same reason a woman clothes her own radiance of beauty. She says, think of a woman saying, I'm covered by a cloud of modesty. Not that I may be hidden from those seeking me. Not that I may be hidden from men, but that I might be less bright for the sake of the weak. Let them heal the eyes of their minds as men. Let them purify their ears with faith, so that they may be worthy to look upon me. For blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. A man who's pure in heart can look upon a woman and see the image and likeness of God in her. But when a woman dresses in a way that's so immodest, we get distracted from seeing you as a human being because we're so drawn to the beauty of the body. Nothing in the world matches the beauty of a woman. Nothing, the woman is the most beautiful creation that God has made here on earth. This is extremely easy to demonstrate. You look in the book of Genesis, the pinnacle of creation is the creation of the woman. You know, God made the dirt, he made the sun, he made the moon, he made the man, then, you know, the animals and all that stuff. Then he makes the woman. And it's this crescendo of creation is the creation of the woman. When Adam sees her, there's awe. Alas, this one is bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. You notice when Eve sees Adam, she's not as impressed. But when Adam sees Eve, oh, and it's amazing that the beauty of, I think there's something in the beauty of women that's eternal. It never gets old. Men never get bored of the beauty of women. They really don't. I remember seeing there's a famous black and white photograph of a woman in the 1950s walking on a street in Italy. I don't know if you've seen it before, but she's walking. There's probably 15 men sitting around on cars and motorcycles, and everyone's like, woo! You know, and everyone's staring at her, and she's just like annoyed at their irreverence, but everyone is captivated at the woman. I went to an all-boys high school. We were right next to an all-girls high school, and occasionally some classes would mix, and so you'd actually get to see a girl a couple times a week. And when she would walk on the campus, it was like everything stopped. Oh, woman. And it was amazing to see. It was almost like this echo of Eden, where the first time that Adam saw Eve, drawn to this beauty. And you look at what men struggle with, you know, the addiction to online pornography. Men aren't addicted to looking at anything else on the internet. We're addicted to looking at like pictures of sunsets and flamingos and rainbows. You know, can you imagine a guy getting fired from work? Oh yeah, my boss caught me looking at pictures of rainbows on the internet the other day. It's so beautiful, that one over Hawaii. You think of all the beauty of creation points us to the one who created this masterpiece, God himself. The beauty of creation reflects the beauty of the Creator. And never so more perfectly and eloquently as in the beauty of the woman. And it's not simply the beauty of the body, per se. The beauty of the body is an external reflection of the beauty she possesses as a human being, the gracefulness of her personality, the beauty of her voice, the beauty of her thoughtfulness, the beauty of this, of that, all of it radiated through the body. But because the body is so alluring, when a woman displays too much of it, I would say that she's not showing enough of herself. I'm writing a book for girls right now, and one of the chapters is on modesty. I'm trying to decide I'm trying to debate between what I want to entitle the chapter. Part of me wants to entitle it No Man Begging, because that's what I think modesty is man. But another part of me wants to entitle it, you know, Wear Something Revealing, Be Modest. Because I think modesty is being more revealing, because you're revealing more of yourself to the man, allowing him to see how much more you have to offer the world than just your body parts. And so when it comes to understanding this gift of modesty, some girls will think, well, can we at least do this? Can we at least do that? I would say if your heart is starting to wonder, is this too tight? Is this too low? You've already answered your own question. Because if it was truly modest, you would never have that hesitancy within your conscience. I was speaking at a high school a couple of weeks ago in Baltimore, Maryland, and the girls had asked, well, what about a bikini? You know, can we wear bikinis? And I said a couple things to answer the girls' question. I said, I'm going to answer your question without reference to anything religious. I'm not going to pull out anything from the catechism. Not that the catechism talks about bikinis or anything, but I'm not going to pull out any early church father references, nothing. I'm just going to speak from logic. I said, okay, let's say, well, first off, a bikini is just wearing your underwear, but it's just different fabric. It's the exact same thing. I said, if you girls were at home in the privacy of your house or locker room, and you were in your underwear, and let's say an earthquake happened and the wall fell down, and meanwhile the all-boys high school next door, the entire track and field team is doing it, your cross-country team is jogging past, and your wall falls down, you're there in your underwear. What would you do? Would you be like, oh, well, this is like a bikini. I can just stand here and you jump and hide in the bathtub or whatever because, oh, no, that's too much to reveal. But then all of a sudden you just change the fabric, and all of a sudden, women don't seem to have a problem with showing that much of their bodies. And the bikini, I point out to these girls, many people don't know the history of this thing. The bikini was invented in 1946 by a guy named Louis Réard in France. Now, this guy worked for his mom's lingerie business. And the time he spent working for the lingerie business, he had a lot of time to look at this stuff and think about it. And apparently he had this thought of, well, wouldn't it be nice if we could get women to wear this in public? And so he invented the first bikini. Now, he wanted to debut the first bikini, which is just basically underwear made of different fabric that she could wear in public. He went to different runway models there in France and Paris and wanted them to debut this at a modeling show. Models wouldn't have it. They wouldn't touch it. Not a single runway model would wear that thing. No way are we going to wear that in public. Are you out of your mind? And he was a bit frustrated. He couldn't find a model to show it for the first time. So he went to a stripper. At the Casino de Paris in France, he found a nude dancer, and she was the only one who would agree to wear the first bikini because she was comfortable exposing so much of her body. It wasn't a big deal to wear a bikini. And so that's where he had to go to get the first woman to wear a bikini, was to a stripper. And so she debuted this outfit, and through the generations, we become gradually more comfortable. Well, it's just not a big deal. You can just wear this in public. But what ends up happening to the man who views this, I don't know if you saw the research that came out last year. Down at Princeton University, a professor there did an experiment with college boys, their brains